So this week's episode of Fruits Basket, Kyo's true form has been revealed, which was a shocking but also not shocking reveal just because we know how bad the cat was treated within the Zodiacs. So, I mean, him having this, monstrous form that has been ridiculed for his entire life, even though I wasn't expecting it, it's kind of like a, of course he has this form moment for me. This episode was fantastic. Probably, there's a lot of great episodes in this season, but probably my favorite episode at this point. I am a little biased because both Tohru and Kyo are my favorite characters within the show at this point in time, so it kind of has a little bit of an effect on me for picking best episodes so far, but I really like this episode. I think just kind of looking back from episode 1 all the way up to episode 24, it just makes sense, you know what I mean? You kind of look back and you see how tortured of a soul Kyo has been, and the idea of pushing back and really hiding away, only ever opening up to Kazuma, his mentor, his teacher, basically his father, the person who loved him like a son and he loved like a father. And I thought it was so interesting the direction they took this, because we still have one episode left before the first season concludes, and I could understand why the original Fruits Basket anime would end on this note here, because it really would be a good wrapping up point for season 1, but when we're getting an actual full adaptation now, there's no need to do that anymore. It just feels like this reveal was handled so perfectly, because building up to it, you knew something was off. They kept really focusing on the bracelet, which I thought that was going to be something related to his mother. Maybe it was given to him by his mother and he cherished it, and he obviously doesn't have that anymore. I thought they were going to go in that direction. I wasn't expecting when they removed the bracelet for him to turn into basically what people would call a monster. But I thought it was interesting how his sensei comes back, and because he sees him smiling and opening up to Tohru, he recognizes that the promise that they originally made, that he would be able to come back to the dojo once he returned from his trip, or wherever he was going, that he could go back. But he breaks a promise saying this is the proper spot. And to actually see, what happened in his past, it's so interesting, and I thought they did such a great job contrasting his mother with Tohru, because his mother, it seemed nice, and I think in her heart she had good intentions, but she was afraid of her son, and you can't really blame her, because yes, it's not easy for mothers who bear zodiacs. When you hug them or just, embrace them, it's like they turn into things that aren't normal. And for Kyo, who was cursed with the cat, it's even worse. But not letting your son leave or just saying how much you love him, but always making sure he wore the bracelet, is very different to how Tohru acts. Because I was actually a little worried, because I thought the direction they were going to go was Tohru would just immediately embrace his form, which all this time I've been complimenting Fruits Basket on how it portrays realistic emotions. And even if you love someone, if they were to transform into this, you naturally would be scared. You naturally would throw up or just, be nauseous, because, as she says, it's a smell that she's never smelled before. It's something that's horrible, it's vile, but she's just confused. Where you have a mother who kept saying how much she loved him, but would never look at Kyo, would never embrace that, yes, you are a monster in this form, you are something that isn't normal, but I accept you for who you are, and let's work together to figure out how we can deal with this, rather than trying to lock away the demons within the closet. Tohru is someone who recognizes you have to let those demons out. And Tohru doesn't understand. Tohru is really scared. She is not knowing what to do. And Kyo has been so emotionally abused his entire life that he thinks any love that comes his way is a trap, it's a trick. He doesn't deserve this. He's been beaten and ridiculed his entire life. Even his own mother wouldn't look at him with her own eyes, seeing what she actually gave birth to. Where with Tohru, even after being thrown and hit, and yeah, it's hard to watch that. It's something that you wish Kyo would stop. It doesn't, him being abused doesn't justify the abuse he applied to Tohru, but it's something that Tohru recognizes that this is a scary situation. This is something that hurts. It hurts me, but it hurts him more. And all I can do is say my honest feelings. I am scared. I am scared of you. I don't know what's going on, but I want to learn more about you. The exact same way you listen to me when I have to rant. And I think that's why this episode works so well, is I really thought they were going to go the direction of just, Tohru was shocked, she got her grippings, she hugged him, it was all said and done. Instead, what we got was something that felt so realistic in the face of what could appear to be a demon. And I love that she approaches it. The directing was great, a lot of wide shots holding on to a silhouette of what looks like a monster and a girl. It was so beautiful with the way they directed it and just really stylized such a demonic atmosphere. Tohru approaching, though, and really embracing him for who he is, not lying to his face, saying, yeah, this form is scary. You're right, this form is terrifying. I don't know what this is, but it's you. I know it's still you, let me get to know you. And I think that is why this was such a great episode. It really made a realistic approach, because if you were to take someone, your closest friend, your closest, your lover, your family, someone that you could not want to be without, and they transformed into this, your natural response should be, I'm terrified, I don't know what to do. And if it's a bad smell, yeah, you might throw up. People who truly have a connection that matter would still push on and want to accept you, or at the very least, be with you so you wouldn't have to suffer alone. And that's why this relationship is so interesting. I mentioned it was either last week or the week before, how the idea that Kyo just listens to what she has to say. He doesn't talk over her, he just lets her rant. And for Tohru, she just did the exact same thing. She knew, without even trying to, heal him, knew that, I have to be honest. This is someone who's clearly craving love, but feeling like he doesn't deserve it. And Kyo's voice actor just got into such an emotional range that just stole the show. And I love how they filtered and stylized his voice to make it sound like a demon, something that wasn't Kyo. Even though we saw him transform, it was just so great to see that all play out. And the resolution of seeing them together, him turning back to human, and then wanting a hug, wanting that embrace, that love that he's always craved but thought he didn't deserve, and then to just see him as the cat. I thought that was simply beautiful and wonderful, and really just highlights what Fruits Basket's all about. It's the demons within the closet and letting those demons come out and embracing them. And when you have that person, that shoulder to lean on, it makes it all worth it. And I think that's what's so great about this season overall, is really pushing forward with those demons. Everyone has demons and they have to let them out, and Tohru is just like this beacon of light that even though she's so hurt herself, she naturally is this beacon that lets the others kind of take comfort in, and then in return basically be the comfort that she can rely on as well. This episode was just fantastic, and I'm really glad that, Kyo at least did have one person in his life before Tohru that really was a kind soul. I'm really glad that his teacher actually was his father in a lot of ways, and just seeing how when everything was going horrible, his mother was dead, and just the idea that everyone was blaming him and he was saying, I'm going to die too, is that what you want? This man took in a kid who really was on the verge of just complete despair. I really felt like they got across someone who deeply cared and knew what was best for Kyo. Someone who, because of what happened with his grandfather, doesn't want the same thing to happen to this kid, and sees that, I'm willing to make him hate me if this will let him open up to someone who'll be able to take care of him. And I really like that overall. I felt as if they really got across this complex atmosphere where at the start it feels like typical Fruits Basket. Obviously there's some drama, there's some tension. You get some of the most adorable shots ever with Kyo just really being in a childlike innocence that we've never seen with his teacher, his father, basically the person who matters so much to him. And then to just see how they transition to this almost horror-esque sequence where, it's basically breaking a bond, potentially severing a connection that's lasted for so many years so Tohru could see the true form. And everyone knows this could easily break the family at this point, but Tohru pushes through. She's throwing up, she's frightened, but she pushes on, and that entire sequence was so gripping. I've been saying it since basically the early stages, that everything about this show has a lot of darker undertones, so I'm not surprised that he could turn into something like this, but I was surprised with the direction they took it, and how they revealed something that I wasn't expecting. I really thought it could have been another personality or something before it would turn into the cat that we've seen, and I think that's why it was so great. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of newcomers as well feeling the same thing that I'm currently feeling with just this reveal and how great it was, and I'm sure manga readers are jumping for joy seeing how this new adaptation is portraying it. And I just really like this episode. It really just feels like such a satisfying episode, and I'm so happy there's still one more episode to go. And I don't care what next week does, whatever it does, we know we're getting a full adaptation, but it really does feel like the first season has this open and shut page right now, and it just feels like this is what we've been building up to. There's still so much more to learn. I'm sure Kyo still has his secrets. I'm sure Yuki and all the others have their secrets. There's still a lot to explore, but it feels like this was payoff. As if we were building up to this, and the emotional impact, it didn't feel ham-fisted, it didn't feel like it came into nowhere. It was being built up since the first episode, and that embrace sequence, after everything that transpired, abuse to just neglect, it really feels satisfying and just completely remarkable. Fruits Basket to me is just a really interesting and fascinating series that even when it goes more supernatural, more demonic, and you see a giant, twisted, cat-like figure, it feels like some of the most human scenes you can possibly point out to within the medium that is anime. And I love it. I love it when you can take real human emotions and portray them in such a supernatural light, but still have it come across as so realistic and gripping. I just feel like the abuse that Kyo's been dealing with for so long, his hatred for himself and why he feels like he needs to push back, it feels justified, from his family to just the friends around him, if you can even call them friends, and just why he's been so bent on attacking Yuki and feeling like he was betrayed, because he really does have the worst curse of them all at this point from what we've seen. You know, they all turn into animals, but he was left out of the race, and basically he was left out of being an official member and got twisted into this curse. It's simply brutal, and that's why it's so great. I just thought fantastic, really, really phenomenal episode. I just love this series. It just, you know, I was watching this episode, it flew by in a matter of 5-6 minutes. It felt like, god damn, this is why I love Fruits Basket. It just hits you in all the right ways, and this was a great episode. I just got a grin on my face. I was like, I love this true former Kyo. And yeah, I mean, I didn't have to smell him like some of the others, so maybe he did smell pretty freaking bad, but, you know, when I saw this, I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be interesting. I thought maybe we were gonna carry this point over into the next week's episode, but by the time that it wrapped up, just grinning ear to ear. Really, really fantastic episode. But what did everyone think? Manga readers, anime originals like myself? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like and also hit that subscribe button if you have been new. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.